Get that old man off the runway before he hurts himself. The shout came sharp through the open comms. Laughter followed, raw, disrespectful, unfiltered. Across the tarmac, under the scorching noon sun, an elderly man in a faded flight jacket knelt beside the lifeless F-16. His gray hair fluttered in the heat, his hands steady as he set down an old metal toolbox. "Sir," one young technician sneered, striding up with a swagger, "this jet's dead. We've had experts from Lockheed and the Air Force Academy on it for 2 days. You're wasting everyone's time." The man didn't look up. He just brushed his hand across the jet's nose, the gesture quiet, almost reverent. Another voice joined in louder. "What's he gonna do? Whisper it back to life? Hey, Grandpa, your bird's extinct." The group of technicians chuckled, slapping each other on the shoulders. One even snapped a photo on his phone. The old man stayed silent. His name was Samuel Rourke, a name that meant nothing to any of them. His uniform bore no patches, no rank. Just the worn flight jacket and an old brass tag clipped to the zipper, one that looked like it had seen war. From the command tower, a voice barked through the intercom. "Let him try." "That's an order," the laughter stopped. Everyone turned toward the glass office above. Inside stood General Harlow, arms folded. His tone was calm, but his eyes were unreadable. Rourke rose slowly, his knees creaking, and looked at the men who had mocked him. "You said she's dead," he murmured. "Then let's see if she still remembers how to breathe." The hangar doors groaned open, letting sunlight flood across the silent F-16. Mechanics gathered, whispering. Rourke pulled a small wrench from his box, one that had been polished so many times the grip shone like silver. "You really think he can do something?" One of the lieutenants whispered. The senior technician, Daniels, scoffed. "He's a ghost from another era. Look at that thing. Analog tools for a digital bird. This'll be fun." Rourke crouched beside the intake panel, eyes scanning every inch of the jet like he was reading an old friend's scars. "You've overrun her hydraulic systems. Starved her fuel feed. Then you told her to sing. Her?" Daniels mocked. "It's an engine, old man. Not your prom date," Rourke gave a small smile. "That's why she won't talk to you." The room chuckled again. But when he reached inside the side panel and adjusted a cable cluster with a single twist, the faint sound of relays clicking echoed through the fuselage. A screen flickered for half a second, then died again. He sighed softly. "You've got her scared." Daniels rolled his eyes. "Machines don't get scared. Only the ones that haven't flown," Rourke said quietly. By mid-afternoon, the crew had grown restless. The colonel arrived, frustration heavy in his voice. "Rourke, what are you doing? I've got Washington breathing down my neck." Rourke didn't stop working. "You want her in the air or you want her paperwork filed neatly?" That tone, calm, measured, confident, irritated the colonel. "You're on borrowed time, veteran. Don't make me regret giving you clearance," a few younger techs smirked in the background. "Clearance for what? Story time?" Rourke's hands froze for a moment. Then, without a word, he pulled a single wire, snapped it loose, and rewired it through a port none of them had noticed. The instruments inside the cockpit glowed faintly. The laughter faded. "What did you just do?" the colonel demanded. "Reset her memory," Rourke said. "She's been looping the same dead sequence for 36 hours. You're treating her like a machine." "But this bird's got a mind," Daniels frowned. "That's not possible." "The systems don't retain—" "They do when you built them that way," Rourke interrupted quietly. That silenced the entire hangar. Rourke climbed the ladder to the cockpit, moving with the slow grace of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. His hands didn't tremble as he flipped switches in a precise rhythm, murmuring the sequence under his breath. Outside, the technicians watched, their earlier confidence gone. The colonel stepped closer. "Rourke, what are you trying to prove?" "Nothing," Rourke said without looking back. "Just trying to remind her who she used to be." He pressed the ignition. At first, nothing happened. Then, a low hum, a cough, a whine. The jet shuddered once, lights blinking in protest. "Fuel pump still dead," Daniels whispered. Rourke didn't move. "Give her a second." The hum deepened into a steady growl. One by one, the lights across the console came alive. Hydraulic indicators green. Turbine pressure rising. Then with a sudden roar, the engine came to life. The F-16 screamed back from the grave. Wind blasting through the hangar, scattering papers and hats. Men shielded their faces, staring in disbelief. Rourke leaned back, one hand resting on the throttle. Told you she remembers. When the noise finally settled, the colonel approached him, eyes wide. How in God's name did you do that? Rourke stepped down from the cockpit. I taught her that trick. Back when the first F-16s rolled off the line, we had a problem with a static bleed valve back in '82. You'd never read it in a manual. The colonel froze. You helped build them? Daniels blinked, his earlier arrogance collapsing. Wait, your name, Rourke? As in Major Samuel Rourke? The engineer from Falcon Program 1? The old man nodded once, quiet. Whispers rippled through the hangar. Everyone had heard the story. A test flight in '89 where Rourke had manually rebooted a failing jet at 30,000 feet, saving his pilot and the prototype. They thought he'd died years ago. The colonel straightened, then saluted sharply. Sir, I didn't know. Rourke smiled faintly. You weren't supposed to. As the sun sank beyond the hangar doors, the F-16 idled softly, alive again, breathing through fire and memory. Rourke packed his tools, slow and deliberate. The same men who mocked him that morning now stood in silence. Some avoided his gaze. Others looked at him like a ghost. Daniels stepped forward hesitantly. Major, I'm sorry for... Rourke raised a hand. You did what young men do. Doubt the ones who came before. Just don't forget who made it possible for you to stand here today. The colonel nodded respectfully. We won't, sir. Rourke looked at the jet one last time. Take care of her. She's more loyal than most people I've met. He turned to leave, the setting sun painting his silhouette gold. The jet's engine gave one final deep hum, like a salute. And in that sound, every man on that tarmac felt the same truth settle heavy in their chest. They hadn't just seen a mechanic fix a machine. They'd witnessed a forgotten legend remind the Air Force what respect truly meant.